Good day, ma'am. I am Jeneriel Cagas from BSHM 3B, and for today's video, I will be report a Chapter 7 entitled Laws Regulating Transportation Establishments. And here's the learning objectives. First is identify the laws affecting the transportation sector. Second, identify the rights of passengers of commercial transportation. Third, explain the relevance of these laws to the promotion of tourism in the country. The Philippines is a promising tourist destination due to its hospitality and diverse attractions. However, promoting inbound tourism faces security and safety issues, with Filipinos being some of the best transportation professionals. This chapter will discuss laws affecting the transportation sector, crucial for tourism study. Article 1732. Common carriers are persons, corporations, firms, or associations engaged in the business of carrying or transporting passengers or goods or both by land, water, or air for compensation, offering their service to the public. So, the crucial feature is that they offer these services for a fee and make them available to the broader population. This legal framework serves to regulate and define common carriers' responsibilities as transportation service providers. Next is responsibility of common carriers. Article 1733. Common carriers, from the nature of their business and for reasons of public policy, are bound to observe extraordinary diligence in the vigilance over the goods and for the safety of the passengers transported by them, according to all the circumstances of each case. Article 1755. A common carrier is bound to carry the passengers safely as far as human care and foresight can provide, using the utmost diligence of very cautious persons with due regard for all the circumstances. So, in Article 1733, this requirement is context-specific considering the circumstances of each case. Then in Article 1755, they are expected to employ the utmost diligence equivalent to that of very cautious individuals, taking into account all relevant circumstances. Next is Article 1756. In case of death of or injuries to passengers, common carriers are presumed to have been at fault or to have acted negligently unless they prove that they observes extraordinary diligence as prescribed in Articles 1733 and 1755. Article 1757. The responsibility of a common carrier for the safety of passengers as required in Articles 1733 and 1755 cannot be dispensed with or lessened by stipulation, by the posting of notices by statements on tickets or otherwise. So in 1756, however, carriers can overcome this inference by demonstrating that they use extraordinary diligence as specified in Articles 1733 and 1755. Then in 1757, regardless of any agreements or disclaimers the carrier attempts to impose, it cannot avoid or minimize its duty or to ensure passenger safety. Next is Article 1755 of the Civil Code provides that a common carrier is bound to carry the passengers as far as human care and foresight can provide, using the utmost diligence of very cautious person with due regard for all the circumstances. Thus, for failure to use utmost diligence of a very cautious person, the bus company should be held liable. So simply put, the bus company is legally required to exercise extraordinary caution to safeguard for safety of its passengers. If the company fails to fulfill this requirement, it may be held accountable for any related injuries or mishaps. Next is liabilities of common carriers for the acts of employees and strangers. Article 1759. Common carriers are liable for the death or injuries to passengers, through the negligence or willful acts of the former employees, although such employees may have acted beyond the scope of their authority or in violation of the orders of the common carriers. So carriers cannot evade responsibility for the actions of their employees by claiming they exercise due diligence in hiring and supervision. Next is enforcement of liability of common carriers. Common carriers' liability can be enforced through contractual breaches or criminal complaints for passenger death or injury or for stranger or pedestrian injuries. Next, damages recoverable from common carriers. In a culpa contractual or acolina action, recoverable damages include actual, compensatory, moral, exploratory, death indemnity, and attorney's fees with nominal damages available if moral or exploratory damages are not awarded. Next, persons authorized to engage in domestic air transportation. Air transportation within the limits of the Philippine territory shall be reserved only to citizens of the Philippines, except as otherwise provided in the Constitution and existing treaty or treatise. The term citizens of the Philippines means A. Any individual who is a citizen of the Philippines, or B. A partnership of which each member is such an individual, or C. A Philippine-based corporation or association with a directing head, 2/3 board members, and 60% voting interest owned or controlled by Philippine citizens. Next, the CAB issues on the CPCN if it finds A. That the applicant is fit, willing, and able to perform service to the public. B. That such service is required by public convenience and necessity. The Air Transportation Office, or ATU, is primarily charged with the technical and operational phase of civil aviation matters. It performs the following functions. The Philippines is set to establish and enforce rules for aircraft inspection and registration, enforcing air transportation laws. The agency is responsible for imposing charge, operating public air utility facilities, administering the civil aviation training center, maintaining national airports, promoting safety, investigating accidents, and issuing or revoking certificates, permits, or licenses. Next, Republic Act Number 9295 establishes Marina as a regulatory body for vessel registration, certificate, insurance, license modifications, routes, safety standards, inspections, rules enforcement, and complaints investigation. Next, the LTFRB regulates public land transportation services, issuing certificates of public convenience, determining fares, conducting investigations, reviewing regional franchising and regulatory office decisions, and coordinating with other government agencies. Next is document required to support application for accreditation to operate as tourist transport operator. The document necessitates a mayor's permit, business name certificate, proof of ownership, list of officials, and other department documents, and certified under oath by the general manager or president. Next, for land transport, the document necessitates a copy of the LTFRB, a certificate of franchise or authorization for tourist car or bus service, approved transportation, rates, company name and logo, pictures of vehicles. And for water transport, the document includes a certificate of public convenience and necessity from the Maritime Industry Authority, approved transportation rates, vessel pictures, route schedules, and other required documents. Next, for air transport, the document contains a certificate of public convenience and necessity, approved transportation rates, plane pictures, list of operations and maintenance personnel, routes, flight schedules, and other necessary department documents. So, accreditation for motorized boat or bangka operators in tourism activities is open to single proprietorships, partnerships, and corporations with 60% Filipino ownership. Application includes business name certificate, certified documents, and board resolution. Next is seatbelt law. The seatbelt law mandates the use of seatbelt devices in both private and public vehicles to protect citizens from vehicular accidents, prohibiting infants and children from front seats, and requiring compliance for new vehicles. Next, Law on Transportations of Animals, Republic Act 8485, also known as the Animal Welfare Act of 1998, mandates public utilities to provide clean, sanitary facilities for pets, wildlife, and other animals. It requires permits, overcrowding, penalties, shipping permits, rabies vaccination certificates, and clearance tests. Next is public service laws. In the Philippines, public service involves managing transportation system for the hire or compensation without a certificate of public convenience or necessity unless exempt. Next is traffic laws. Republic Act No. 4136, enacted in 1964, regulates traffic in the Philippines, requiring proper registration for public highways and a certificate of public convenience for public utility vehicles. Tourists can use vehicles without registration. So, transportation establishments are regulated by a complex web of laws covering safety standards, environmental impact, licensing, and operational guidelines, ensuring passenger safety, environmental protection, and industry integrity. And that's all for my report in Chapter 7. Once again, this is Jeneriel Cagas from BSHM 3B. Thank you and God bless.